71,335 employee accounts. That's what leaked the last time Nvidia got hit. Usernames, passwords, source code claims. For years later, Nvidia's own filings admit security breaches keep happening. No cybersecurity incident report has ever reached the SEC. So what actually tripped this month's filings radar? A $500 billion pension pitch. On August 10th, 2026, Nvidia announced framework agreements with 6 of Wall Street's biggest asset managers: Apollo, BlackRock, Blackstone, Brookfield, Goldman Sachs, and KKR. The goal: mobilize over $500 billion in outside capital for AI computing. It was a financing headline, not a breach filing, but it pointed straight at one hiding underneath. Here's the mechanism nobody explains. Since 2023, the SEC requires public companies to disclose material cybersecurity incidents on a form called an 8K under Item 105 within 4 business days. Automated trackers scan for that language alongside words like breach, ransomware, and incident. A pension fund story about computer chips got swept into the same net. So the check went straight to the source, Nvidia's own 8K index on the SEC's public database. No Item 105. Not for August. Not for any month in 2026. If there was no breach filing, the real story had to be sitting somewhere else, in paperwork that gets filed once a year, not within 4 business days. It was buried in Nvidia's 10K, filed February 25, 2026, sits a line most investors skim past. The company discloses that breaches of its GeForce NOW security have, quote, happened in the past. Similar language covers third-party suppliers, not a hypothetical risk, a confirmed history in the company's own words. Nvidia's 10K also details the machinery meant to catch problems like this. A chief security officer with nearly 2 decades of government and private cyber experience. Regular briefings to the audit committee. Outside security firms brought in to test the system. The architecture reads solid. It still didn't produce a single Item 105 filing. Here's the first turn. A financing headline hides in the filing's radar. A quiet confession sits inside the annual report. If Nvidia admits breaches have already happened, which ones? And why did none of them ever reach a public incident filing? The paper trail exists. It's just scattered across the wrong documents. Rewind to February 23, 2022. Nvidia discovered intruders inside its own network. The attacker was a young, chaotic extortion crew known as Lapsus. They claimed to have pulled roughly 1 terabyte of data out of Santa Clara. Nvidia's own statement said certain ID resources were impacted. Employee credentials and proprietary information were taken. No ransomware was deployed. No link to any nation-state conflict, the company said. On paper, contained. Underneath, a very different picture was forming. Have I Been Pwned later added the breach to its database, 71,335 employee accounts. Email addresses, password hashes, many of them cracked. Source code claims for graphics drivers followed. This was not a quiet leak. It was a corporate identity dump. Source code is not just text on a screen. For a chip company, it's the blueprint for graphics drivers running on millions of gaming PCs and data center servers. Losing it isn't paperwork exposure. It's a rival shortcut and a decade of engineering suddenly worth stealing. Then came the strangest part. Lapsus did not ask for a ransom payment. It demanded Nvidia remove mining limits from its graphics cards and open source its driver code. Deadline, March 4th, 2022. A $1 trillion chipmaker extorted with a wish list instead of a wire transfer. Nvidia hardened its network, brought in incident response specialists, and notified law enforcement. No Item 105 followed, because in early 2022, that rule did not exist. The SEC would not require breach filings on an 8K for another year and a half, giving victims 4 business days notice once it finally took effect. The clock only started running after Lapsus was already history. Second turn. The disclosure clock exists now. For business days. A rule with teeth, at least on paper. So 4 years after Lapsus, with that clock finally running, did the next Nvidia-branded breach ever actually trigger it? May 2026. Headlines everywhere read the same way. Nvidia confirms GeForce NOW data breach. The actual intrusion lived thousands of miles from Santa Clara, inside a regional partner in Armenia running the local version of the service, GFN.am. This is the mechanism. GeForce NOW runs as an alliance. Nvidia builds the platform. Regional partners run their own logins, their own databases, their own billing. When a partner's database gets hit, the breach carries Nvidia's brand in every headline, while the actual failure sits outside Nvidia's own walls. Reporting described unauthorized access reaching back to early March, discovered roughly 2 months later. What leaked? Email addresses, usernames, dates of birth, and in some cases phone numbers and real names. Passwords, the partner said, stayed protected. A forum actor using the name Shiny Hunters demanded $100,000 in Bitcoin or Monero, though researchers suspected an impersonator writing a famous name. 2 months is a long time for a breach to sit undetected on a live authentication database. It's long enough for stolen emails and birth dates to circulate quietly before anyone gets a warning. Nvidia's own 10K admits it has limited ability to monitor third-party suppliers in real time. This is what that limitation looks like in practice. Nvidia's position stayed consistent. Partner-operated infrastructure, not company systems. The partner would notify affected users directly. And once again, no Item 105. Not because the rule failed, because the breach happened one contractual layer outside the company that took the headline. For the players affected, that legal distinction means nothing. A birth date, a real name tied to a gaming account, a phone number handed over just to stream a video game. The brand on the login page is the only company most of them will ever blame. There's a wrinkle in the $500 billion pitch too. Nvidia's own CEO has said the company may backstop resale value on used chips by up to 25%, project by project. Reassurance for lenders worried about aging hardware. Reporters have called that arrangement circular financing. Nvidia calls it independent underwriting. Third turn. 2 confirmed breaches. 0 incident filings. And in the very same season Nvidia disclosed both risks in a single boilerplate paragraph. It asked Wall Street's largest funds, pensions and insurers included, to bankroll its next chapter of growth. The numbers here are real, and they are enormous. $215.9 billion in revenue last fiscal year, $130.4 billion in operating income, a $25 billion bond sale in June, and a pitch to raise over $500 billion more in outside financing, subject, Nvidia says, to final agreements. Compare that scale to the boilerplate paragraph covering cyber risk. The lesson isn't that Nvidia lied. Every fact here comes from Nvidia's own filings and its own public statements. The lesson is that materiality is a judgment call, and the company making that call is the same one asking investors for $500 billion of confidence. Nobody outside the boardroom gets a vote on where that line sits. If you use GeForce NOW or any Alliance-style platform, treat every login the same way regardless of the logo. Use a unique password. Turn on extra verification where it exists. Watch for notices from partner brands, not just the parent company. The boundary that protects Nvidia's filing does not protect your inbox. Figures here come from Nvidia's SEC filings, Have I Been Pwned, and reporting from Ars Technica, Bleeping Computer, CNBC, and Fortune. Full links in the description. Every number, every date, every quote traces back to a public record. Which corporate filing should we pull apart next? This has been Corporate Breach. Case open. The radar just needs to look in the right filing.